Hello and good morning. It is Friday, the 16th of July. It's 2021. Lockdown is hopefully about to finish. Sadly, we're no longer in the Euros. Unfortunately, we went out on penalties, but actually, I think most people in the UK are still super proud of the team and kind of what happened. And my name is Steve Pugh, and what I try to do every week is do a bit of a live stream on Friday mornings. It's 9:01, and basically what I tend to do is recap some stuff from the week. I talk about some of the things that we've done on the Roadmap MBA business course this week, which is a real world business course for you to basically learn the skills to help you develop in your business or career. Had some really good endorsements and plugs this week, which is cool, with in various kind of networking groups and stuff. But also what I really love is the fact that people are just getting genuine value from the course and what we're doing, that when you essentially put a huge amount of time and effort into something, it's great when it kind of pays off. And then what I tend to do on Friday mornings is just do a quick recap on certain things. You can comment in the questions, so you can send me in questions on anything you want, and I'll kind of draw them out on the whiteboard. I have a few different things which I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to try and keep it to about half an hour or so, but I'd love for you to get involved in the chat. Just tell me where you're from. I don't mind if you kind of plug your business. And actually, it's that interaction which hopefully makes things a little bit interesting. So in terms of today, what I said that I would talk about, a bit of a recap on the week. So actually just last night, I did an interview with a lady called Suki. And what we were doing, she was actually trying to understand, or her whole I'm possible conversation is about trying to understand people and what drives people behind kind of the business kind of face. And one of the big things for me is actually just to do with, I was raised by my mum. I'm actually very up on and very keen on things like female empowerment and just making sure equal opportunities and just making sure everyone has a fair kind of shot at life in many ways. That one of the questions was to do with almost the motivations behind the Roadmap MBA and what is it that we're trying to do. And one of the big ones is especially the fact that it's making business education accessible in a way that when I grew up, we weren't poor in the global scheme of things, but not great. But actually what the whole point with the buy one gift one initiative is that no matter where in the world you're from, no matter what your background is or financial status or whichever, you can apply to guest list at roadmapmba.com just to get a free course, a free pack, join all the sessions. And that's obviously subsidized by paying kind of corporate members, but it's just making accessible the information that will help people grow their business or careers. That I think for too long it has been elitist, and it artificially punishes people from poorer backgrounds, or that are working parents, or that are busy, or have multiple jobs, or there's a whole range of kind of things. So it was something interesting. I'll share the link when I get it, but Suki, thank you for the interview. One of the things that also went out, I think it only went out this week, was a press release that Harvey and Hugo did for me. So that's a company that I work with. And it was to do with the roadmap hitting 19 countries within its first 6 months, which is pretty cool. I think we're actually now at 21. But again, it's a great kind of achievement, but personally, and I think part of that as well is that as you go kind of through your life and stuff, you always have people that will criticize and say you're not good enough and why are you doing this? And I've had that again, not recently, but within the past kind of 6 months, a year. Good morning, Simon, as always. Please get involved in the comments. That actually I wanted to share the point that if you kind of know what you're doing and you're willing to commit to it and really put the hours in, you can do good stuff. So it's not just a pat on the back or raising awareness about the course, which obviously it is, but actually it's the whole point that Simon with his new business or whichever, if you kind of put your effort in and put your heart in, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. And that was what it was all about. But it also shows, because I think as of just before we went live, I think it was up to about 11,500 views. And that was just my post reposting it on LinkedIn. Not to mention, it went to about 20 different publications and different stuff. But actually, there's a really good benefit to your business, no matter what your business is. So actually doing good, solid PR and doing it well. And it's the extra, it's the social proof angle, which we talked about on Tuesday. But if you ever consider, if you do your own thing, or to consider your PR kind of strategy, and you can always ask me kind of questions. Thank you, Simon. Yeah, I think it's one of my top tips. So one of the questions which I'm going to jump onto is about the 7 top tips in business. Which number is it? I can't remember. One of them is actually that people don't aim high enough. I think you have a lot of people who have ambitions to start a business, but almost they only aim at the local area. And I disagree with that for a number of different reasons, but actually it's something that I really want to talk about. But the next one, which it's literally was announced this morning, it was why I was about 2 minutes late when I started the stream, is that something that I've been working on since September, is I'm going to switch to this. Let's see if this works. Boop. Nope, it didn't work. I'm going to come out of PowerPoint. I've had this before when PowerPoint crashes. There we go. And then go to Google. There we go. So this is actually a deal I've been working on since kind of September or so. So my background is offshore energy. I'm a chartered mechanical engineer by trade. Within the past kind of 10 years or so, I've worked at a lot of different companies in a lot of different places. And I started to work with Subsea Energy Solutions, that are a really good company based out of Catterick in the UK. And what they do is they make cable protection systems. So the whole point of a cable protection system is that if you have a offshore wind farm, and you have a power cable which runs the power from the turbine back to the shore. Power cables, same as iPhone cables, can kink, they can bend and they can break. But obviously when these things are worth billions and billions of dollars, what you have is what's called a cable protection system, which prevents you from overbending a cable. And basically there are probably 5 or 6 major international companies that do CPS, cable protection systems. I used to work at one of them. I currently work with one of them, but there are many more. And there are lots of kind of Chinese copies and stuff now. But it's a really big industry purely because if you have a wind farm, and it's how the world is kind of going to produce its energy from now on, at least for a while, you need to protect these cables, because if they break, it's not good. So the whole point of the partnership is SES is a really good company, quite bespoke, quite niche in terms of size and scale compared to some of the other guys, but they always inherently had the best products. But you know, the different market dynamics, it was hard to compete on price and different things when the other people had external investment. So one of the things that the partnership with HWA does, it both gives us access to the South Korean offshore wind market as a partnership for them to manufacture SES products, which in many ways you have the best of both worlds, because you have the best product and design with very high-end automated manufacture, etc., which normally does aerospace components and automotive and lots of different things. So actually this partnership could be huge. It could, as I would always say with everything, it could turn out to be nothing. But actually I've worked on this for 11 months now. I'm really kind of proud of it. Proud for all of the parties. There's a lot of trust involved, because this was also done over COVID when you couldn't meet necessarily face to face. But what I also wanted to do was just give a real world example of business strategy stuff that I work on when it's not roadmap stuff. And the whole point is it's the same concepts, the same techniques and the same things that we teach on the course you can apply in the real world for big or small companies. And actually I only launched this press release this morning. So check it out, follow me on LinkedIn or check out the Subsea Energy Solutions website if you want to kind of find out more. Hi Denise. Good morning. I'm just going to switch back to PowerPoint. There we go. Are we back on? There we go. We're back on. Yes, Denise, 21 countries. I have a list on my phone and I kind of keep track. The very kind gentleman called Paul Koshy donated 4, actually it was 6 copies, 2 to people in the UK, Manchester, and then 4 to India. And it was to do with the church, and what they're really trying to do is actually just help educate and empower people around the world in terms of, you know, giving them the skills that they probably otherwise wouldn't have access to actually build a good business, a strategic business which actually does well. Because I think, as I've drawn out many times, the one thing that most people get wrong is that they assume what they're currently doing is correct and they just do more sales and marketing. But actually, if you can get the strategy piece right, make sure that your weapons are as good as possible, then accelerate, it makes a huge difference. So it's also great to bring people on the roadmap. And I know Denise is a big fan of the roadmap kind of course. But actually just to give it access to people around the world. And I think part of the reason why I look a little bit more tired this week, we had the first full week of classroom sessions as well. So you have 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, these are on UK times, 8 p.m. on a Tuesday, 7 a.m. on a Thursday, and that's for your Sydney, Perth, Australia, China, Far East kind of market, so it's within their time zone. And then likewise, even today, we do a 12 p.m. session, that's 12 p.m. UK, which kind of covers everywhere from East Coast of America to Singapore. But you're more than welcome to join any session, just, you know, get a feel for what it's about. And it's all about helping you develop your business or career, etc. So I'm going to take a very quick drink of water. If you've got any questions or plugs or anything you want to mention, please kind of drop it in the chat and I would love to kind of do something. And then I'm going to jump onto the, I just realized I've gone back 2 slides. There we go. Oh. See, this is the beauty of live TV. The 7 top tips in business is what I'm going to go to. It's the wonder of PowerPoint and LinkedIn and doing stuff live, but it is what it is. Yes, Simon. The funny thing is, though, is that, you know, I'm human, same as you are. And actually, compared to a few weeks ago when I had this fall over and I've had everything you can imagine go wrong, I had the camera turn off. You know, I'll take the small wins, I'll take the PowerPoint thing, but it is what it is. So one of the things that I wanted to touch on is that last week I spent 25 minutes talking about how to drive sales within the next kind of 90 days in your business. I've actually got a consultancy partnership, which hasn't been public yet, but which is launching soon, which is essentially me implementing that on behalf of someone else. And again, the reason why I'm not afraid to talk about it is because I get paid to actually do this, that actually I find out what works, I know what works, and I iterate, so the course keeps getting better. But then likewise, we're about to go on, say with Denise, yes, Denise, long story short, but with a lot of the courses, we're about to go into the sales type modules for how you interact with people and build relationships and that kind of thing. But actually, when I also get paid to do this by other people, you know, for their business with real kind of cash, almost it's the proof in the pudding. It's the fact that, you know, I'm not afraid to actually kind of do it and put my neck on the line to actually prove that I'm good at this stuff, as well as teaching it as well. So that's something that I'm, you know, going to kick off soon. But just in terms of the 7 top tips in business, this is something which I think, yeah, you can spend 25 minutes going into quite a lot of detail on specific topics, which is what I've done in previous weeks. But often just really small things can make a big difference just in mindset. So I've chosen just 7. And the idea is that, yes, I'm going to clip this up and it's going to go onto YouTube, but it might just give you some ideas of things to talk about or things that you can implement within your business or career that actually just will help you achieve whatever it is your goal is. The first one is that it's expensive to be cheap. So I learned this when one of my old housemates, Hassan, we lived together in Sheffield. He's originally from Lebanon, but he's worked all around the world. Really kind of great guy. And his dad owned a chain of fashion stores in the Middle East. And that was where it first kind of came from. But it's the whole point of take the live stream. I could have, in theory, still implemented a live stream from home with just a webcam, and it would have been fine, but it wouldn't help me achieve my goal. Through actually trying to save money in the short term, I probably wouldn't be in 21 countries now. But you can apply this to anything almost if you go for always the cheapest option, often you will lose in the long term. So the amount of time and effort and cash and stuff that I put into my brand, and I've got a lot of stuff coming through which you haven't seen yet, but actually it will hurt you in the long time. It's always worth investing in the better business cards, the better website, the live stream, the cameras, the lighting, etc. Because actually it will pay off over time. That often if you decide to cut corners, you can cut corners in certain areas if you know it's not important. But the point is, for me and for my business, live streaming is arguably the key piece to help me hit 100 countries. So actually, the more I can make this studio better and better and better still, just as an experience for you at home, is all about strategically doing what I want to do, that it's the right thing to do. And if I say cut corners and went for cheaper lighting, lenses or TV or whichever, it just wouldn't work as well. That actually, yeah, it's expensive to be cheap, and I think it's a really important one to learn. Thanks, Denise. Tip 1, watch Steve. Thanks, Simon. And follow your content as well. Feel free, Simon, to drop in a link just to your latest launch, which I know I've been following as well, which is really kind of cool just for people who might follow along. Yeah, number 2 is actually people not aiming high enough. I know, and I interact with quite a lot of entrepreneurs, everyone from copywriters to product owners to Denise, who helps run a machine shop in Northeast England, people of all different sizes to £4 billion South Korean kind of companies. And I think people often don't aim high enough. If you really get your strategy right to think through what it is that you offer, and also one of the things that we also look at on the course is that what else do you have within your skill set and background and network which has value? It's how can you leverage those to actually create a much bigger impact? Because it's a prime example. If you are very good at a topic, so I'm going to take copywriting again, you might target businesses in the northeast of England, of which there are give or take 42,000. But the issue you then have is that yes, you have to raise profile and yes, you have to kind of do that, but you're going to cap out at a certain point, because if you convert 0.1% of the people that see your stuff, get more people to see your stuff, but also, identify who pays the highest kind of wages, where's the market opportunity, and then likewise aim to do copywriting in America, in Australia. Obviously, for most people, it would be English speaking. But the point is, actually have those ambitions and look at how you put the structures in to then create that. So for instance, say with the roadmap, I always aimed from the very start to actually aim big. And then likewise, even if it only stayed as with people within England or whichever, that'd still probably be more than enough for me. But actually through, again, aiming high and going for the big stuff, you're probably going to, exceed and achieve what you always wanted to. But actually it's always worth trying, and actually just that genuine ambition, it's something we do at the start of the course, is to actually write down, what are your aims and ambitions? What is it you actually want to achieve? And even with the interview I did with Suki last night, she said, where do I want to be in 10 years? And I was honest. I said, I want to be seen ideally as someone like a Simon Sinek, where people come to you as an expert on a topic, but actually, that's what I'm aiming for. But it will take 10 years to get there. And it's just, doing my streams, doing my things, being consistent is one of the most important things. You are at Simon, good things are not cheap. Correctly. Yeah, he's completely correct. And again, the global interview, I think I was part of season 17, but a really good thing. And again, what I also did is that if I went through and looked at all of the people involved with each kind of season where they interview people, really interested people from around the world, and I connected with them, because it never really hurts to connect with good people around the world and actually just build your network. I think that's also the other thing, that when people aim too small, it's because they haven't necessarily met people in Singapore or South Korea or Australia that actually build those connections and add value to the network without feeling that you're just taking from people, if that makes sense. And that's a really important thing, part of your strategy. Okay, the next one is I'm going to draw on the board. Oh no, I've had the blink of death. I had this a few weeks ago and I wasn't entirely sure, so I'm just going to check the connection one sec. I thought I'd cracked it. I thought the problem was something else, but maybe it's not. Fingers crossed that's the last time it blinks and if it goes black, but anyway. The next is actually to do with having a broad range of skills and how this is really valuable. So the way that I draw this out in the roadmap, and it's something we really look at, is that for me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So everyone has a range of skills across their career which you develop. So I'm going to go through them just generally, but actually it doesn't necessarily matter. So for instance, if you start your career, you generally start with minimal kind of technical knowledge. So you might have some industry knowledge about what is offshore energy. You probably haven't managed anyone before, so you don't know how to do that, but you've got some banter where actually you're not afraid to talk to people and you're confident in doing promotion and actually helping to put yourself out there in terms of marketing and a little bit of sales. And what happens is actually that when you start your career, all of your skill sets, so imagine these are jars of skills and things that you have, that as you go through your career and you do different business courses or you learn different things, you actually start to build these up. And what you find is actually, if you look at the kind of career mountain, so you have the CEO at the top and you start at the bottom. Essentially, as you go through your career, you're probably like this at the bottom, where actually you're kind of learning your craft, you've just finished school or college, and actually this is the whole point of your career. But then as you kind of go through and you start to learn new things, when you kind of get to mid-level or so, you're probably a very good specialist in a certain area. So you might be a very good salesman, for instance. So you might be a brilliant salesman and you're great at talking to people and you know how to qualify them and prospect them. And that's what your skill set is. And people build their whole careers just being exceptionally good in one area. This is also true in large businesses. So if you take a Google, for instance, they will have sector specialists who are 10 out of 10 in one particular area, because in much bigger organizations, that's kind of all you need. as in that it can have a team of people that just do business strategy, and they'll have 20 of them. And those people don't need to be good at management or sales because they just do that one role. In smaller businesses, but also as you kind of go through your career, you're probably asked to do a bit of sales, speak to customers, technically understand what it is that you do, maybe manage some team, understand some of the financials about how you run a business. But the point is, in smaller businesses, you're actually often asked to handle and do more stuff. And in some ways, you're asked to have more of a skill set in different areas, because that's actually what small businesses need. They need people to almost help out across a range of issues. But one of the things that I just wanted to kind of touch on in terms of the point number 3 for today is that the more you have a breadth of skills and the more you kind of go through your career, when you actually get to the top of the mountain, so you're the CEO or the MD, chances are you have very good technical knowledge in terms of what your business kind of does. You're going to be good at strategy, you're going to know how to sell, you've got marketing, you're going to have to do HR, you're going to understand the financials. But the broader your range of skills and the higher the range of skills that you have, excuse me, you're more valuable. So one of the whole points of the roadmap is that we teach people across all 8 breadths of your kind of career development and different skills that we work on. And the idea is that that makes you more valuable to actually help you get promoted. And that's in terms of your career, or likewise, if you want to run and start your own business, you could be a technical specialist in copywriting. So you might know your art really well, but if you don't know how to strategically set up a business, market yourself, sell yourself, network, the last one is all about the financials and financial intelligence. If you don't know how to do those things, there's a real chance that your business will fail. So the whole point of the roadmap is to teach this breadth of skills that it's very difficult to learn kind of elsewhere, but actually how it will hopefully impact and help your business or career. Hi Denise. But Denise is a prime example. So for instance, again, with her business, Denise's role now is largely to do with marketing, sales, building relationships and bringing people into the business to actually, raise awareness so they can sell more. So actually Denise in some ways brings certain skills, but Denise's partner, John, who's the technical specialist, arguably has the complementing skills. So for a small business, you actually want to add in the pieces which complement what you do, that bring in your strengths. So for instance, if you're terrible with numbers, so imagine you're really good at these, but your finances are you just don't understand numbers, it's just not your thing. You can bring someone in to help that. And that also what helps where outsourcing kind of works. But the point is, over your career, the more a broader breadth of skills that you can develop, the more valuable you'll become, the more successful your business will be, because actually you'll just understand kind of what to do. But no, Denise, thank you for the comment. So next, number 5. I actually think that this is quite interesting, and it was a concept that I read actually in a book I'm reading at the moment. It's by a guy called Tim Grover. It's called Winning, and it's actually to do with mindset, to do with sports and basketball and different things. But actually it's almost, imagine or treat yourself like a sculptor. So this could be you as yourself or you as the business. That actually when Michelangelo created David, and when sculptors create stuff, they don't start with the finished product. But what they do is strategically take away bits that aren't needed, that don't add value to the end result. And actually I thought this was really interesting, because actually we all do things and have things in our lives which actually don't necessarily add value or help us get to wherever it is that we want to get to. So like a sculptor, or at least with that kind of concept, you can, if you choose to, remove negative influences from your life, things that don't add value, things that you don't enjoy, etc. And actually create what's called a no list. So within the course, we go and we plan out something called lead actions, and it's how, it's creating all the positive things that we want to do with our lives or our kind of business. But actually, what's also equally important is almost to come up with a list of things that you will say no to. So things that come in that you don't really want to do, people that kind of take the piss a little bit when they want to just ask favors or abuse the relationship, that actually, like a sculptor, removing the bits that don't add value is a really good, clever mindset for something to actually think about, that I just wanted to kind of share. And actually, yeah, just the concept of actually, what if you were to create a list of things that you would remove from your life that don't add value, that don't help you get to where it is that you want to be, what would they be? And it could be things like smoking, it could be bad habits. I'm trying to cut down on my kind of McDonald's intake and, trying to up my fitness levels, but it's trying to find the balance of whatever works for you. And it was a really interesting concept that I kind of wanted to talk about. Next, I'm going to go into time management. So this is number 6 of 7. I had a chat with someone on Tuesday, and she was picking my brains about how and why do I seem to be able to get a lot of stuff done? Because you'll probably see me multiple times a week doing this, but I do all my classroom sessions, I do all my consultancy stuff. And don't get me wrong, I do work hard. And yesterday I was in the office at 6:30 in the morning. And then I didn't finish the interview until nearly kind of 8 o'clock in the evening. That's not common, that's quite rare. But the whole point, just in terms of time management, for one, it's not a level playing field. So for instance, this lady has family commitments, she has children who has to go to school, she has horses, she has lots of really good stuff that she has in her life which she really enjoys. The truth be told, I don't have. So I don't have kids, I don't have pets, I don't have to walk a dog, and all of those things. But what that means is, rightly or wrongly, it gives me a competitive advantage on probably an extra 2-3 hours every single day that I can spend doing stuff. Because this, again, is my kind of hobby that actually she doesn't have. And the reason why I wanted to almost share this is that never judge yourself against other people, because you don't know what their environments are, what their systems are, or whatever it is that they're kind of like going through. But likewise, never cut out stuff that you actually enjoy doing. So if you love spending time with your kids, if you love the freedom of walking the dog, if you love riding your horses, etc., that's good, fun, positive time that, enjoy it, embrace it. And the whole point of everything we're trying to do here is actually just to create a business, a life, or a career which actually just helps you achieve the lifestyle that you want. So if in a perfect world you would be, yes, you'd be a multimillionaire, but actually you would still walk the dogs, take your kids to school, ride your horses, etc., why not do it now? And it was just the interesting point of just on time management. It's not an equal playing field. And then likewise, you also see some people that probably go over the top where they're killing themselves to work stupid hours. You see this a lot in like investment banks and different things, where people might work from, say, 9 a.m. maybe to like 2 a.m. But they do it, but they burn out in their 20s and they're miserable and stuff. That you don't want to replicate that. That's not cool. But actually, it's that level playing field that, especially on social media, when you see stuff, often you will see the perfect version of that person and what they're doing. That actually it's not always true as well. And it was just to kind of, in some ways, kind of take the pressure off. Hi, Denise. I'm just catching up on the comments there. Yeah, I agree, Simon. It is hard to actually create a list of things to stop doing. And again, Denise, it's a really important point that actually when we look at the mindset approach for the business and whatever it is that we're trying to do, the end goal is to create a happy, content life. That's what we're looking at. One way to help do that is through having a successful business or career that helps fund that, but actually gives you fulfillment in terms of the stuff that you actually create and do every week. But the end goal is always happiness in many ways. So it was just an interesting topic that came up this week that I thought I would share. And last but not least, on number 7, is actually just make a little bit of progress every day. So one of the things that for version 2 of the roadmap, I'm going to be adding in a whole concept which I discovered probably 6 months ago, and it's called Ikigai. And it's all about how you can find your purpose, what makes you happy in kind of life, but actually how can you build your business or career around your passions and things that you like. So for instance, for me, I love being creative. I love doing this kind of thing. But actually, whenever you have something that you can work on over time, so Simon has the global interviews, Denise has her business and her family life and different things. But actually, that little bit of progress, the feeling that you're creating something or sculpting something or growing something over time, actually often gives you fulfillment in terms of your life and your career that it's very hard to get from material things or cars or watches or whichever. And actually, it's something I'm going to add to the roadmap at the start, because actually the more that we can help do that, you're going to have a more fulfilled and happy kind of life or career. And even earlier this week, a lady that I know who is in the same business center I am, she wasn't quite sure in terms of her own kind of life and career, what is the path that she wanted to kind of follow. And we talked it through, and it turns out that, you know, she's really passionate about property and interior design. So we looked at, well, actually, how can she, you know, write to a company to do some work experience, to almost just dip your toe into that area. But it was all about actually thinking about, and she did the Ikigai kind of exercise. What is she passionate about? What do you enjoy? And then actually follow that as part of your dream. So for me, I love solving problems. I love working with people. I love this interaction, but I also love techie stuff and streaming and cameras and whatever. So this kind of is my passion, and it's part of the reason why I'm kind of throwing my heart and soul into it. But it's really important for you to do as well. But actually just having something, and it doesn't matter what it is. It could be an allotment. It could be the classic car that you're looking to restore. It could be whatever. Just having a task or something that you do over time, which you enjoy, can actually just really help give you fulfillment and life happiness and stuff as well. But just, it doesn't, you don't have to make, you know, huge strides in 6 months. You can take your time, and that's kind of really important. So what we're on 9:31. But no, guys, I really do appreciate the, you know, the comments and stuff every week. It is kind of quite cool. And it means I'm not just talking to myself, which is cool as well. If anyone has any questions or comments or stuff, please feel free to drop them in the chat. There's no interview this Monday, so I'm having a Monday off, but they will carry on from next Monday as well. I've got some really good kind of guests coming up. I will share the interview I did with Suki last night as soon as I kind of get it. I'm trying to think what else have I got coming up this week. Nothing majorly of interest. It's the weekend. I was away camping last weekend, so that was quite nice, but sleeping on the floor often gives you a bad back, so I think I'm still kind of recovering. And then working on my own stuff. So I'm working on version 2 of the roadmap at the moment, trying to make it better and actually just improve the content. It's all based on the feedback and stuff that I do with this. And again, I'm looking at website upgrades, and basically this is my way to help build and keep building this over, well, 10 years, as I always kind of say what I'm doing. But as always, I appreciate the support and, you know, that kind of thing from everyone. Have a wonderful Friday if I don't speak to you before. Denise, it'd be great to, okay, thanks Simon for saying listen to the little book of Ikigai by Ken Mogi. I will check it out. And it's just, yeah, have a wonderful weekend. You know, never be afraid to drop me a message whenever you wish. If you ever have any questions, and often these come in, which I always answer kind of anonymously, it is questions@roadmapmba.com. We've got 150 odd videos and stuff on the website, which you can check out if you want to jump into specific stuff on sales or sales prospecting or whatever. And then, yeah, the classroom sessions, all the details are on the Roadmap MBA website. All of the links to join the sessions are on the front page of the Roadmap MBA website. And the classes start, or the room opens, about 5 minutes before. And if nobody joins or whichever, about 5 minutes in, they close as well. But if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will speak to you soon. Cheers, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.